Hello and welcome to my course on AI automation powered by n8n. Today we are going to wrap up this capstone project of the section 5 of my n8n course where we are building an end-to-end lead enrichment and assignment workflow. We have already completed two parts of it. If you have not watched them, first go and watch them and then come to this third part where we are going to continue and do the rest of the workflow which has been remaining, including the part that I promised where I'll teach you how you can leverage n8n to create PDFs from docx or any type of text for free. So let's go ahead and finish this capstone project that we started couple of lessons back. So the first thing that we should do is the easiest job, which is handling the low value leads. And what we were supposed to do was low value lead, add to nurture sheets in Google Sheets. So for that, I have a Google Sheet over here. So this was capstone project mock data Google Sheet that I had, in which there are two sheets, all leads log, anything that we do, any lead that comes in, whatever be the outcome, needs to be logged in this particular sheet. And we have already used couple of use cases of it, but this one is first we are going to nurture it and then we are going to add it to the all leads log. So let's automate these two steps very quickly. Let's add a Google Sheet node and we'll say append a row. And here we have selected the account. Append row is the operation. We need to select capstone project mock data, and this we have to select our sheet. So instead of this, we are going to use leads to be nurtured, and then the columns will come. So it is asking for full name. So we don't get to see any of the fields or data over here because node is executed, but no items were sent to this branch. So for that, let me do a quick dirty fix over here. Let's open this and let me hard code this over here, low value. So this is going to route the data to the low value branch, but you don't need to do it in your main workflow. You can execute various workflow executions and see how those are performing. But just for this video purpose, I have intentionally made the hard coded value over here. Let me execute this and verify the lead value at the bottom. So here now the low value is coming. So this is going to route the data. Let's execute the switch case. So now the data has come. So you can see the data has arrived. So we are going to fetch the full name. Then reason for nurture, need more research and details. Let's execute this step. All right. So data should be logged into our sheet. So you can see that we just made an entry over here. Let's go back now. So this completes the flow of low value lead, but one thing is still remaining. Like I said, that we have to log all the leads that are coming in. So for that, again, let's add a Google Sheet. Add append row in a sheet. And this time I'm going to select the other sheet. So here all leads log, that's what gets selected. And timestamp, we can say expressions. Let's open it up and say now in the full name, again, name is coming. In the status, instead of discarded or rejected, we can say to be nurtured. And reason is need more research and bandwidth for further lead profile enrichment. Let's execute this step as well. So you can see that this is also done. So let's come back. Let's go to all leads log. So you can see that need more research. So that means one of the flow that this sales ops person was doing, low value add to nurture sheet in Google Sheet, that has been automated as well. Now comes the part of high value lead and medium value lead. Now let's automate the other two branches, which is high value, where we are notifying the content coordinator and account sales executive for direct outreach. And similarly for medium value as well, we are alerting content coordinator, but we are sending an approver for sales manager. So let's go back to our canvas and start automating the high value lead. So for this, I'll just add a Slack. So we are notifying the account executive over here. So send message. We can say that alert account executive, rename, and send message to, I'll just say user. And over here, I'll select my name and messages. So we are just sending out a message notification to it. And I'll come back to the part where we are going to create the PDF as well in a moment later in this video or this lesson. And I'm going to show you how you can convert any type of data, be it documents, be it your data that is dynamically coming, into PDFs for free in n8n. So stay tuned till the end of the lesson. Here what I'm doing is I'm sending a message to a particular user that I already know, but what you can also do is you can have some sort of Slack IDs mapped somewhere like a Google Sheet or maybe your employees database. You can fetch that information and map the employees with particular industry so that you can map to right account executive some high value leads. So that kind of dynamic nature you can build in. However, the business workflow that we are automating for a particular company is a very small company where only 2-3 employees are there. So we are just automating the work for them so that they can focus on some real world problems or creative work or focus on their business, how to scale it, rather than busy in this sending notification or manual work. But in complex business scenario, you might want to fetch these roles, these executive data from an employee database and map these fields to them before sending the notifications. So let's execute this step. So this is going to send the alert. So no data was coming in this branch, that's why nothing came in. We'll again hack our workflow and we'll just say over here high value lead, and I'm going to execute this step, and then we'll reevaluate the switch node. So now the data is coming in the high value. So let's execute this. So now the message has been sent successfully. Our account executive has been notified. But does it end over here? This account executive may need to set up some sort of an invite with the customer. This account executive may need to send a welcome email to that particular customer. They might also need to follow up with the customer after 2-3 days or maybe 5 days, maybe next week. So let's automate some of these aspects for these people as well so that their time also starts saving. So let's first help this account executive send the meeting invite. So for that we can search for calendar. So we have Google Calendar over here. I'm going to say create an event and we can rename it to setup customer meeting. And here from the calendar list, I'll just select my email. The start over here is now. I'm going to just copy this. I'm going to schedule a meeting like 5 days from now. So I'll just add another plus and I'll say this +5 and I'll say days. Okay. So this makes it like start time +5 and then +1 hour from now, and then end time will be same, 2 hours. So that will make it 1 hour meeting after 5 days starting from now, whatever the time is. And I'm going to also add attendees over here. So we will use the email that we have. Let's drag it. So this is the lead email or the potential customer email with which this sales executive might want to set up an invite. So let's execute this step. So this is going to create the meeting invite for us. Then what we can do is we can send an email as well. For that as well, we can use Gmail node. And we are going to say send message. Click on this. We are going to send the message to the same customer. And this is more like a welcome email. Let me go back to the switch node and let's drag the email node from here. So this is the customer. Subject is welcome to GenAI Unplugged. Hey, just reaching out as to welcome you to our newsletter. You can put whatever welcome message you want. I'll execute this step. This is working fine. And finally, we might want to follow up with this customer, or we might want to nudge it after 5 days just to check whether they respond or not. So for that, we can add a wait over here. And this wait node we have already seen in the past lessons where we use this in order to throttle the APIs that we were executing so that we don't hit the rate limiting limits of those particular APIs, but you can also wait until some minutes, hours, and even days. So here we are going to wait for 5 days, and then basically what we are going to do is send another email. So I'll just copy paste this and put it over here. So this is like a welcome email, and this is more like a follow-up. And finally, everything must be logged. So we are going to use this sheet, and I'm going to come over here. So this was our log sheet. Let me rename these as well. Let's go back. Let's rename this as well. Now let's come back. Let's rename this as well. So now if we look at this branch, we have automated one piece of high value branch. And what was that one piece? We have notified the account sales executive for direct outreach, and we have also automated some of the steps that he or she might be taking as first few steps. So we have made their job easier as well and reduce some manual effort on them as well. However, what we did not do is notifying this content creator And this content creator is basically creating a PDF for various qualified leads. This is high as well as medium leads, and copy pasting enriched data into a doc and then renaming and naming that file and saving it as PDF and uploading it to a Google Drive. That was the Google Drive document that we have mentioned in the notification to sales executive. So that means this step must happen before the account executive gets the notification, and this step is common for both high value as well as low value lead. So now we are going to automate this step. So for that, let's come back over here. Let me just drag it a bit over here so that it becomes more readable. Let me drag these two down over here. So this gives us some space for automating the medium value leads as well, and we'll come back to them later on. But first we have to open up a parallel branch and notify our content creator first. So we'll use Slack, send message. We can say notify content coordinator and we'll rename it. We are going to send the message to a user. This time I can pick like some other user, maybe like this one. And we can say, hey, a new lead has arrived. Enrich the information and create the PDF document to upload to Google Drive. So whatever message you would like to convey to the content coordinator, you can do that. We know that person is going to use the details, create a profile document and convert it into a PDF and upload it to Google Drive. We want to ensure that their process is automated. So let me execute this step. So let's create a parallel branch from high value first and start automating the process for content coordinator as well. And then finally, we are going to just notify them. So in order to do that, I'll just add the drive first. So let's have the Google Drive. And first we are going to copy a file. So basically this copy file, let me go back to our Google Drive first and show you why I am saying so. So this is my Google Drive where I have this Capstone project as a folder. And what I have done is I have created a template for company underscore name dash full underscore name dash customer underscore type. So if I double click on it, you would see this is probably a kind of a document that this content coordinator will be creating by accessing the information that we have so far in the enriched lead information and then putting everything over here. So over here, you can see this is like qualified lead brief. Company name underscore is there, then lead profile. So this is more like a template. We are going to use this template in order to create a document which is more like a PDF for our sales manager and other executives to review the information of this enriched lead profile over here. So let's go back. And in the file, we can select this because we want to make a copy of it. And file name is going to follow the same pattern of the name that we have on the template. So for that, the company name is at the first. So let's drag the company name. And then we have dash full name. So I'm going to close this, use the person. Over here, the full name is going to come. And then we have a lead type over here. I think let's go back here and see customer type, which is more like a lead type. Let's append that as well. And let's close this. Let's come at the bottom. And here the lead type is there. Let's use that. So we can say copy in the same folder. You can create a folder hierarchy if you want as well. So let's execute this step. So this has created a template of this particular document. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a Google Docs node over here. And we are going to update this document. So what we are going to do is if I open this document, we are going to find and replace the information which is like templatized. So you can see company underscore name with square brackets has been mentioned. So I'm going to search this in the document with the help of Google Docs node. And I'm going to replace this information that is coming dynamically in my node, which is more like unified enriched profile that we have in our workflow. And similarly, you can say full name, full underscore name is there. For email address, I have square brackets email, job title, again square brackets job underscore title. So we are going to search and replace all of them. I'm not going to go through all these details. I'm going to make a dedicated video of how to create free PDFs using n8n. You can follow me along in that process. But here you got the idea how you can do that. But by the end of this branch as well, you will understand how to generate PDFs out of the dynamic data. So let's come back to our workflow. And over here, like I said, this is the Google Doc. Resource is document, operation is update, and the doc ID or URL. We already had the ID from the last where we copied the template into this particular document. So this is the name of the document which was copied for this particular lead as a copy from the template. This is the one that we are going to update. So in the object, it is text, but in the actions, I'm going to use find and replace text. So the old text that we already have from here, let's say company name. So let's just copy this. So let's paste it over here. So this is what I have to search as old text, and what I have to replace it with is, let's go to our assign lead or basically route lead based on this. So this has the information. Let's collapse this. We wanted to have the name of the company. So company.name is here. So you can see that this item.json.data.company.name is going to get replaced. Based on your needs as well, you can enable disable this match case option, but for us, we can just leave it off. We will add another action that would be again text. Action would be find and replace text. This time I'm going to go ahead and replace the full name. Let's do that. Full name, and full name is coming over here in the person data. Let's drag it over here, and let's do one more. Let's replace the email as well. Find and replace text. For the email, I think we had just email, but just on safer side, let's copy it from over here. So old text is email, and the email that we have is here. Similarly, you can create all the actions for all the variables that you have in the template field. If I go back to my drive, you will see that the copy is already created, which was done as a first step in this whole branch. And we are making the changes in that particular copy. Before going back to the canvas, let's rename this to replace dynamic data. Let's rename it. Let's go back. Let's rename this one as well to copy template. Let's come back. Let's make some space over here. Now, if I execute this, this is going to update the existing document that we had. So if I go back over here, now if I open this up, you would see that the names have been replaced, whatever we had. So you can see company name was mentioned 2 times. So it has replaced both the places. So if you find and replace all the templatized fields that are there, you are going to get the Google Doc version of the document that you would like to work upon or you would like to publish. But we want a PDF. So how do we convert this Google Doc into a PDF? Well, we can use these same nodes again to trick the system in order to generate the PDF. So for that, first thing that we have to do is download this file into n8n. So for that, I'm going to use again drive. The action would be download. We're going to download the same file. Instead of from the list, we can say by ID. So this is the document ID that we had. So this is what we are going to download, and we'll add some options over here. Put output file in field. And the second option is what that will do the trick. So we'll use this Google file conversion and add conversion. You can specify various conversion parameters for different types of Google documents. So ours is Google Doc. So we are not going to use HTML. Rather, we are going to use the PDF. So when I click on this execute step, it is going to create the PDF document out of it. I can download it and preview it as well. But let's leave it and let's quickly make the progress. Let's rename this node to download as PDF. Now we'll upload this file. So we are going to upload the same file. Resources file operation is upload. Input data field name is data. So we are going to leave that as default. And for the file name, we can roll back some nodes. So over here, we can go back to this particular or maybe like this one. So here the file name was there. I'm going to just drag it over here. So we are going to use that. So this will be the file name. We want to have the parent drive as same and the root folder. Instead of root folder, let's put it in the Capstone project. So this is the parent folder that we would have. So let's go ahead and see if something is there. So there is no PDF file for now. So let's go back and execute this step. So this has created a PDF document, and that's the PDF document that we have now. So you can see that this is the PDF. It's the same PDF that we have created from this particular Google Doc. So the last step that remains is we don't need this Google Doc. So I'm going to go back and delete it. So let's rename this to upload PDF. Let's rename and let's go back. And now let's add another Google Drive node that says delete file. So this is delete file. Same data would be there. Operation is delete. From the list, instead of from the list, I'll use the ID, and we already have the ID from the replace dynamic data node. So this is the document ID that we have. We are going to use that. If I execute this step, it is going to delete it. So you can see that Google Doc file is no longer available over here. So that means with these few steps, we have automated what content creator was supposed to do or content coordinator. Now the final step would be to notify that person. And for that, we can use Slack, send message to a user. And this time we can select GenAI Unplugged, which will be like a different user. And in the message text, we can say a new profile has been uploaded for your review and further processing. And let's rename this to Notify Content Coordinator. Let's go back and save. So this branch of work has also been successfully completed. So that means high value leads are going to go through first this branch. A new document would get created because this is at the top of the branch that we created for high value. So first this branch gets executed as per the execution order of n8n. Then this branch is going to get executed. So content coordinator and PDF document would be available when the account executive will get the notification. So both these branches are coming from high value. Same set of tasks are needed for medium value as well before we send for approval to sales manager. So in order to do that, I'm going to link the medium value branch to this branch as well. So if the lead is medium value, first this branch would get executed, and then whatever we are going to configure for this particular medium branch as a separate branch would get executed. And what was supposed to be done? So if we go back over here, so these two steps have been successfully automated for the content creator, and they are just doing review now if something is missing or not. So for that, if you want to make some sort of changes, you might want to omit the last step where we deleted the original Google documents, because they can then update that Google document and recreate the PDF by exporting it right from Google Sheets or Google Docs. So both high value workflow and low value workflow has been completed, and a part of medium value, which was alerting content coordinator and doing all this stuff, has been successfully completed. The only part remains now is sales manager for approval. So in order to do that, this is more like human in the loop kind of a thing, where sales manager is basically approving a request before we proceed further. And what we have to do proceed further is, if the lead is approved, we send a Slack or email notification to assigned BDR, which is business development representative. If it is a small organization, maybe the same person is doing this account executive part as well as the BDR part. So same person gets the notification over there. If it is a different person, like I said, you can import the employee database, do some sort of a mapping using some merge nodes, aggregate nodes, and finally produce a mapped output of the lead versus the employee who is going to process on your lead in your business. But in our case, it's a small business, so we are going to use the same process. So first thing is human in the loop. How do you implement that? How do you stop your workflow or pause your workflow until someone approves or rejects it? Let's go ahead and learn that as well. So first thing that we have to do is send an approval email. For that, I'm going to use Gmail. But this time, instead of using a send message, I'm going to use send message and wait for a response, because we want to wait for the response. I'll continue to use the same credential, resources message. Operation now is send and wait for response. And here in the to field, your employees data mapped profile to sales manager for this particular lead can come in, but I'll just hard code it for now. Let me open my Gmail box as well. So this is empty right now. There is no email over here. So let's come over here. Approval required for new medium value. So this is a message that we can send. You can also fetch the link of the PDF that we created and input it over here. But that I'll leave it as an exercise for you to extend this particular workflow. For now, we'll just write this simple message over here. And then in the response type, you can see there are a couple of options. There is like approval, there is free text, there is custom form. So you can use whatever you want in order to use this type of node where you are waiting for an approval. And we just need approval and disapproval. So I'm going to use approval. But in the approval option, I'm going to add both of them. So you can see that type of approval right now is approve only. So it is going to only send approve button, but I want to record the rejection or disapproval as well. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say approve and disapprove. So this way, this is our primary button, this is our secondary button, both the buttons would be there. So let's go to our inbox and see there is nothing over here. Let's come back over here and then let's execute this particular node. So this is going to send an email. So you can see that now this node has been successfully executed. Oops, I think nothing happened because no data was coming under this branch. So let's go back and hack our workflow again. So this time for real, we can just say medium, because this is the medium value lead that we have. So this is working on the real data now. So this node gets executed and you can see the control is going on to this branch as well as this branch. So we have to have a document over here. Let me click on this so that the notification is also happening to the content creator and a new doc is creating. So this time you see all the steps in action in order to convert data into PDF, and you can see the PDF is already over here. Now we'll execute this step. And you can see that now our workflow is waiting to be further executed because it is send and wait. And if I go to my inbox, there is approval required for medium value lead that has come in, and I can decline or approve it. So I can click on this approve, it is going to open. I can just close this particular page. I come back over here and you would see that one item has successfully executed and the data is approved equals to true. So this tells us whether the sales manager approved it or not. So we'll just rename this to send for sales manager approval. I'll come back. Now we'll put a if node over here, and in the if node we'll just say this is true or not. Because this is a boolean, if it is true, we execute this step. So it is true, it is going to come in the true branch. So in the true branch, that means sales manager has approved. What we had to do was, if the sales manager approves it, it's a medium value lead, send a Slack or email to assign BDR for further nurturing of the profile. And then that BDR can be following same set of steps like scheduling a meeting with the customer, sending them a welcome email, or scheduling a follow-up or sending them a follow-up over the email like we just did for the account executive representative. But in our case, it's a small business. One person is doing all this work. So I'm going to just attach this to the same workflow that we created for it. Because in our case, if this is true, then the account executive is the BDR for this particular account. It's a small business, but again, like I said again and again, in your case, it could be a bigger scenario. So you can have that employee data mapped to it and further develop the workflow based on this particular decision. So I'm going to just drag it further so that our readability gets maintained. So this will keep our readability in check. But if this is false, that means sales manager did not approve it. So let me just first rename this sales manager approved. Let's rename it. What we had to do was, if the rejection, archive the lead in all inbound leads log entry. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to just make a copy of this, Control C, Control V, and we are going to attach this to the disapproval of sales manager. So if I open this up, everything should remain same. The lead value is going to come. So status will be disapproved. And in the reason we can say sales manager did not deem the lead. And we can execute this step. Nothing will happen because no data is coming into it. The data is going in the true branch. One thing I noticed that I have to correct over here is this is also recording a to be nurtured status. This one was approved status. So let's come back. Let's do this and let me drag these a bit down. Let's save our progress. Let's go back. So that means we have automated this. We have automated this part as well as this part for sales manager. And we also automated the BDR part as well, because now BDR, medium value, nurtures and reaches out to the lead via email or CRM to initiate next steps, schedule a calendar task automatically, add to an email marketing platform, or trigger a follow-up workflow. Same steps are being executed by our sales executive as well for high value lead. We just saw how we automated it. And in our case, both these person BDR and sales executives are same. In your case, it could be different. So you can modify the workflow accordingly. Finally, all entries are being logged into a database, which we have already logged in each and every step, wherever the rejection was happening, wherever the disapproval was happening, and wherever the approval happened. Now the last step is basically every 24 hours the log that we created. So basically if I go to my Google Sheet, so this all leads log, it gets scanned and an email gets sent to the founder or the senior leadership or an executive in your organization, which is more like a daily summary or a weekly summary or a monthly summary of whatever the leads are coming in from various forms into this particular workflow, what is happening with them. Basically the digest of all inbound leads in your organization, but that you should create as a separate workflow than this one. You should not trigger that step at the end of this, because that might get executed with each and every log entry that is happening. You might want to have a fixed schedule like 8 a.m. every day in the morning that email gets sent. Whatever you prefer based on your schedule, you can use the schedule trigger in order to configure that separate workflow. So that means we have automated all these steps and removed all the manual work that was happening in your organization. And if I go back to the workflow, zoom out a bit, this is how the workflow looks like. It has come out to be much more complex than we have thought. And if we have to execute this workflow, let me go ahead and give it a quick run by first unpinning the data wherever the data is pinned. So let's open this. Let's just ensure what details we have to enter. I'll just unpin it. I'll go back to the canvas. I'll click on this one as well, and we are going to unpin this data as well. Now let's just save it. Let's clear the execution log. So this is how the cleaned version of our n8n workflow looks like. Let's execute it so that we can see it in action from end to end. But before that, let me just deactivate this 5-day option over here. We had a wait put in for 5 days. Let's just deactivate it so that this workflow does not get stuck over there in our test run. Let's save it. Let's come back and let's execute the workflow. Because we had the first node as n8n form, it has opened up the form that we had. So I'm going to use the same details. And we can leave the website, we can leave the job title, interest area is like support. Let's submit this and it would start executing. You can see that the nodes have started executing. So it is now creating the document, the PDF, and it is coming in as a medium value lead. So now it is waiting for the manager approval over here. So I'm going to go back and click on this, and we are going to click on approve. So this has approved and final log entry has been successfully made. So if we come back to our Google Drive, so you would see that another document has been created. This time there is no name in there. So that means some data was corrupted by the enrichment API. So that means you might have to go back and put in some error handling over here. So this was the entire Capstone project that I wanted to build with you. Couple of concepts like error handling. You can implement this. You can check for validation errors that is coming from hunter.io, because that's an API that we have used to verify our email for third-party validation as well as enrichment. But you can put some sort of more validation logic in it so that you are preparing for the worst case as well. In case that data is not returned, you can have some sort of backup branches or backup flows as well that gets executed in case those APIs are not returning the responses. Maybe they are erroring out, maybe your subscription has failed. So the concepts of error workflow, the concepts of handling errors, throwing an error using stop an error node is going to help you upscale this real world example or real world project workflow that we built. Second thing that I want to highlight over here is that you see there are few flows. For example, this particular flow that we have over here of converting the dynamic data into a PDF document and uploading it into some sort of Google Drive or cloud storage. Well, this is an ideal candidate for you to create a sub workflow out of it and always input the parameters into sub workflow so that you have one workflow in your organization that is converting all the dynamic data or documents into PDF files for your entire organization. So that's another ideal candidate over here. The second candidate that I see over here is this particular workflow, which is being called by two branches, because once a person, be it a BDR, be it an account executive, tries to reach out to the end customer, they follow a similar path. They schedule a meeting, they send a welcome email to them, they do a follow-up after 4-5 days, they might be doing some other task as well. In our case, the account executive and BDRs were same, so we did not have to bother much, but in your case, they could be different. So in that case, you may have that sub workflow triggered by those scenarios so that you are still executing different branches but fully utilizing the same nodes with the reusability concept of sub workflows. So those two things are homework for you that you can do by applying the lessons learned in last couple of sections of this course. And this completion of section 5 also marks the completion of entire n8n course from zero to hero for creating automation workflows. We have not yet touched AI automation workflows that we are going to touch base in 6th and 7th section of this course. So you have to stay tuned. But just for n8n automation workflows, you now have full knowledge of basic concepts, intermediate concepts, and advanced concepts. Section 6, let's get deep dive into what is AI, what is AI automation workflows, and how you can integrate those AI automation workflows, or how you can leverage n8n in order to build not just AI powered workflows but full blown AI agents as well. So I'll see you in the next lesson of this course.